I'm going to take my hood down so I don't look like a cunt, because I always wear my hood and I feel like I look like a prick.
Oh, when
I was
we
on the
were
hood.
just in between that last one, I found a stray oat on my t-shirt.
Straight out.
There you go, Jamie. You have a clap that you don't need because the audio is synced to the video anyway. Hello, and welcome back to the Fifth Unit podcast, episode number 14, apparently. Not totally sure. This week, we are joined by special guest, Charlie Havill, in his Tommy Hilfiger, Tommy jeans, long sleeve, looking cool. And
hello,
Marcus Dell with his beanie and his Africa t-shirt because he loves Africa, apparently. Charlie, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you boys?
Yeah, I'm good. Just chilling. How's isolation training going for you? We talked a bit before, but
it's all right. We can recap.
Yeah, we'll do a little recap and then we can go into some other stuff because everyone's talking about this stuff at the moment anyway.
Isolation's good. The training's good. I'm doing a lot of like tricking, a lot of like swing throughs as well. I don't know what to call it, like creative movement, because that's dumb. But it's like it's not like non-standard flips, like the ski flips. You know, like what Ethan Klickstein and like Josh Malone and stuff do.
Yeah.
Like and Valtteri as well. Does those weird like pike doubles.
Yeah.
I've just got like a trampoline and I've got loads of grass. So anytime I want, I can like finish my work for uni for the day and I can just go outside and just play and just have a like see what shapes I can make and stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of sick to be fair. I don't have a garden, so whenever I want to practice tricking, I have to walk down to the park and look like a schmuck. Everyone's just like, "Why is that garden there?" And I'm like, "Well, gotta get the grind on, learn some new stuff."
That's the opposite. That's with me. I've got to walk to a spot, but they're all in town, and there's no point in driving because well, actually, no, I could drive now, but before in isolation, you weren't allowed to drive, right? Unless you were like going somewhere. So I couldn't like.
You weren't supposed to go somewhere further than an hour from your house or something like that.
Oh damn. Yeah, well, there's no point in driving to town anyway because then it's like 20-minute walk away. I could cycle like a skateboard or something.
Yeah.
So like I have to like trek to a spot. By the time I get there, I'm like knackered. Easier to trick.
Yeah, that's fair. I've been trekking it to spots all day, every day. Well, not all day, every day, like 4 days a week. So have you just been focusing on tricking mainly then? I think you said earlier that you got put off by a man to break your neck.
Oh yeah. I mean, the focus on tricking is not super random. Like moving to Cardiff and training with Tinloy a lot. Like he's so like diverse. Like his skill set is crazy good, and I can just about keep up with him. I can't keep up with him on swings, obviously, because his bars are insane. But like prees and stuff, generally I can keep up. Cat passes and stuff, generally I can keep up. And like challenges and stuff. Free running as well. We've got about the same skill set. I mean, his is obviously better than mine, but like I can keep up with this training. But the only thing I just couldn't do was tricking and swinging. Mm-hmm. So like I practiced loads of swings when I was at Fluidity, like loads and loads. And like I finally understand lache technique, like proper arching and kicking and timing and stuff. But tricking, like just like it is a whole other sport, really. Like all the flips are on a separate axis to everything you do in free running. Like, and I twist all my tricking, I twist left. All my other stuff, I twist right. So I've got a lot of work to do.
It's all wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suck at tricking.
I feel like Tinloy is quite a good example of someone. You're saying like he's got a broad skill set, which I think is absolutely true. Only maybe demonstrated by the fact like the stuff that he puts on Instagram, although sort of few and far between, tends to be bar stuff, trick and stuff, twists, and it's insane. And then watching his line at Nova City is essentially completely parkour based, and it's all of an unreal level. He's a sort of perfect example of that. And similarly, I think you, in a way, I think suffer is a bit of a strong word, but I think people have an idea that you're very much
like flip based
on flip based.
Yeah.
Not necessarily true.
No, it's not true. It's like, I I don't. Yeah, okay. Parkour is in my mind is less fun. Finding a challenge and like figuring it out is the most fun thing I can do in parkour. But I'm not going to go out and do the same jump 100 times like you should, right? You should go out and do jumps loads and loads of times. I like figuring out a challenge and then doing it. I like doing that with friends, but it's not the same as like learning a new flip. Like I learned a frisbee the other night, and then like the one leg piked frisbee. I just stayed in my garden till like 9 o'clock because it was still light, just doing them, just repping them, which is like what you should do when you're trying to break a jump. I just don't do that with parkour. I train them differently. And anyway, like when it always, it came down to what like people liked on Instagram. If I upload parkour training, like no one fucking liked it. Whereas if I uploaded like a circle cast or like a 1.5, people like gassed it up. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just do more of that.
Do more of the trick and stuff.
Yeah, and then people are like, well, you don't do jumps. I'm like, you don't know me, bro.
You don't know me. You don't know my story.
Yeah.
That's so. Is when you say a circle cast, is that the sort of the like straight-legged pommel horse to cast away? Yeah. That's a fucking nutty move, honestly.
Yeah, it's cool. I see bare people doing it wrong as well.
People doing it wrong?
Yeah, I see bare people doing it wrong, man. They'll do the circle and then they'll gate off to the side. Like, it's not the point. Like the point is your legs come back round and you kick and you block against that circular momentum and it kicks you into a castaway. You're not like just waiting until you're like off at a safe angle.
Yeah, the other one's like a circle gate, innit? It's like a different,
Yeah, it's totally different. Yeah.
I've seen people do those before in gym, and but they like specified they were gates, they weren't meant to be castaways because they do them off really low shit, like stuff.
Yeah. But even Diddy did like a perfect circle cast in his Art of Motion submission, like proper castaway.
Oh yeah,
circled round. It was like hip height and then just like blocked against it, and I think it looks so much sicker than the circle to gate.
Yeah, I think if you can pop it well, like a circle to cast would be fucking.
Yeah.
Yours are really nice to be saying that.
Yeah,
speak of the name.
Yeah, that's one you hit in comp.
It is one I hit in comp. Yeah, NAPC. Is that the? Actually, no, I didn't get a medal for NAPC. I did hit it in Apex. Yeah, I did. I hit it for my qualifying run. I did it off this. There was like I had to bend my legs for it because there were two pillars either side of where I was doing the circle. I had to bend my legs up, and I was doing it off of a wobbly like vault box. It was disgusting.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So is it fair to say that your parkour training is more like maintenance?
Yeah, the parkour training is like it's the perfect warm up. Like, I can find something that's scary, but I don't have to invert myself or like go off axis or anything. I can stay like super linear, and I can get all my muscles moving in like the ways I want them to, and then after that I'll start warming up flips and stuff.
It's like a strange contrast in the fact that like I just go out to do parkour stuff. I don't like if I like have a run in mind that has a flip in it, the flip is never the priority. Like I'm just like, oh yeah, the flip's fine, I can do the flip. I'm focused solely on the like parkour thing, and then like that's gonna take me that's the thing that's gonna take me ages, and then I'll just throw the flip at the end, like when it gets like comfortable.
I'd say that's pretty similar. I'd say that's like when I build a line. No, right now my parkour stuff is definitely like I build a line based around the jumps, and the flips do come after the fact. Like the jump will be the scary bit, but I think that's a product of me working more on my parkour nowadays and already having a really good flip skill set that I can put into situations. But definitely before, I trained like I was on Farang or something. Like it was like flip, 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 flip. There was no parkour involved. Like if you watch any of my competitive runs, which was like pretty much just how I trained normally anyway, like it's just flip to flip, like no steps in between, no jumps in between either, really. Like I might Kong up onto something to like get some height, but there's no jumps.
You've always had that sick connectivity though, like where you just do something into something else. I find like I struggle with that so much with flips. Like if it's like with parkour, it's like fine because I can just plyo out of anything, I guess.
Yeah.
Like with like flips, I struggle so much. So I like land the first flip, I'm like, I'm not really in a position to do another flip or like anything else, I guess. And it like takes me ages to like do and then I get tired. So then I'm like, when I finally get it, I'm like tired. So it's all way harder than it was before, but it's actually connected. So it just looks kind of shitty, I guess. But
yeah, you do have, Charlie, you do have like some sort of innate ability to just link shit, sort of. The one that comes to mind is in Plymouth, around when we were, it was all us boys came down and we ended up doing the scruff.
Such a good day.
Honestly. And you hit that congainer and then
on concrete as well.
You rolled into full. It's like
yeah.
I don't know how that.
I've tried that. It's really hard. I literally landed on my face. I rolled. I was like, oh yeah, full. And I just fucking landed straight on my face.
It's you've got to have the flips. You've got to be able to. If you want to fall, just anytime, you've got to just be able to fall. Like I'll bash one now. Like it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah.
I'll bash one now. I'll bash one now.
Yes, please. It is rude. Surely not.
Fair play.
That was sick.
Fair play, mate.
Shallow on landing. You've got to just be able to bash it. Like you should always have your flips in your back pocket at all times. If you're like building style lines. And like the roll thing, you've got to just look over your shoulder, huck it, jump, and go.
Standing tall almost.
Yeah. I think I'm sort of more in this similar mindset as Chris, in that my flips, the only real drilling that they get is when I'm putting them into lines. I'm sort of like sprinkling them on the end of stuff, and I don't put that much attention outside of line building to flips. It's purely parkour focused.
Yeah, I decided to change that this year. So like I've beginning of this year I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get way better at tricking so that I can actually like feel comfortable while doing it. And I've just been going out and spending like sessions on grass trying to do as many tricks, like just drilling shit and getting it like nice and clean. Although I hurt my toe like 2 weeks ago, so I haven't actually done any tricking because I always feel like I always trick barefoot because I just don't like tricking in shoes as much. I don't want to squash my toe and fuck it up even more, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Charlie, I have a question based on something you sort of mentioned earlier about doing stuff not because of Instagram, but things are getting likes, and that's going to be the stuff you're posting, and therefore sort of ending up training things that you don't necessarily would have otherwise. Hypothetically, if Instagram didn't exist or you didn't have an account on Instagram, how different do you think your training would look now?
Right now, it would be the same.
Yeah.
It would be exactly the same. If I didn't have an account on Instagram, it affected my training. And then some stuff happened, and like I was sort of like, well, why am I training all these things for people to like it? Being the goal, right? Is the goal. But then I get messages from people like, you don't do jumps. I'm like, whoa, this is super counterproductive. I want all these people to like me. And there are people telling me that I'm still not good enough or whatever. Like I'm not doing the right thing. And I was like, oh, this is just lame. This is so dumb. And then sort of TikTok came along and everyone jumped over onto TikTok. And I was like, I'm out. I'm not doing that. And it's sort of
TikTok's still early days. You could get bare followers on TikTok if you wanted to. It's so creased.
But it shows you how like arbitrary the number is, really, doesn't it?
Oh,
if it's that easy to obtain, like I see people like gassing up, like I've got these millions of views. I'm like sick, man. Like cool, like good for you. I got a fucking level 100 Charizard on my old Game Boy. Like, are we all gassing up random numbers now? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
100 Charizard is not a random number. Okay.
That shit. Oh, mate. Nicknamed it Blaze. I've fucked people up. I was like 10.
Gotta be done with that.
But yeah, it's an arbitrary number. It doesn't actually correlate to anything. Like we know the people with the most followers or the most engaging content aren't the best, right? Dom will be the first person to tell you that he's not the best free runner in the world. He's just so sellable. He's so marketable. He's a 6 foot, long-haired Australian handsome dude that's like happens to be really good at crazy feats of strength.
Yeah.
And happens to get up from falling over no matter every time.
Man. He's indestructible and his work rate is insane. Like, yeah, it's crazy. And there's other people like that. There's other people in the sport that are like still sick, but I wouldn't like say the best, because there's still like, do you guys see the Jimmy the Giant video with like Yanis Shower doing the first ever flip to a rail?
Yeah, I did see that video.
I thought Max was like the first ever to do that.
Oh, had you not seen that video?
I'd never seen it before, and then I was like, right, well,
have you watched it now?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, good. I was gonna say, go back and look at all his like yearly roundups. They're so sick.
The level has been high for ages, like an unobtainable level. Like training with Phil, we were shooting that ampersand video, and I was like, "Oh, Phil, just stride the bars. That'll make a clip." And he was like, "Yeah, right." Just did it, like it was nothing. And these are like bars that you have to like fly away in between to catch, like nuts. Like the level's so high that what is like, how do I explain, like what's an achievable level, like it's sort of skewed, because no one like the best in the world right now still isn't Danny. The best in the world is, well, I'd say it probably still is Danny. Like he's sick. Like all the times I see him train, he's still like way above everyone else. Like the pros right now, like he's still, yeah, like unobtainably good. But when kids on Instagram chuck up their like top 5 athletes or whatever, he's never in it.
No.
You know what I mean? When someone's going like, "Oh, what are your top 5 athletes?" They're going, "What are your top 5 like TV shows to watch?" Basically, what's the favorite content to consume? It doesn't correlate with how good you are as an athlete at all.
It also totally varies per style. So like a lot of people, so like if I'd know for a fact if me and Marcus did our top 5, Callum would be in it like 100%. But it's purely just because he's so good at like the jumps. Yeah. But like if you ask someone else who like is a total different side, who doesn't do as much like parkour stuff or isn't as favourable, like me and Marcus is easily swayed by a good stick. Yeah. And so if you ask someone else who's more like flip based, they'll probably say like, I don't know, someone who's more flip based.
Like Zen for a triple cork to concrete or something.
Yeah, or like Pasha, who just does like weird flow shit that like I don't know, doesn't really suit me, just because I don't enjoy watching it as much.
Well, Pasha's the same. Pasha's the same. I remember at NAPC, he was there that year, and I remember talking to him like, "Oh, you're not competing?" And he was like, "There's no point. If I win, everyone will go, oh, it's Pasha, of course he won. And if I lose, everyone will go, oh my God, Pasha lost." Yeah. There are people that are so good at the sport, and they've like, they're out of it now. Like they've got nothing to prove. They don't need to like do anything. And the rest of us are very much just playing catch up with that, basically.
Yeah, I feel that. That makes sense.
The other thing, like, and it doesn't almost end at style. There's also the qualities that you would attribute to a good athlete. So you know, for example, and that's why I found I first thought about this at the Scruffy comp when I was judging, and then I suddenly had to give people criteria on what I thought was a good run, and it's so things that I would value. So I value, for example, consistency very high. I value sort of execution and technique very, very highly. So my best athlete is going to be someone very different to someone else who values creativity and who values, you know, raw power, that sort of stuff. It's a very difficult sort of.
Well, people even have like, those are just semantic definitions, aren't they? Like you can say connectivity and flow. What's the difference?
Yeah.
You kind of might in your mind, you might have like flow. It's like you're like, you know what I mean, and someone might understand you, but really,
I'd argue they're probably the same thing.
Yeah, but they could be separate criteria, right? Realistically, for like someone who arguably doesn't know what they're talking about, probably, like judging a competition. It's just a parkour buzzword, isn't it? Like it's just like, well, he's got really good flow.
Yeah, it's just a buzzword. Oh look, I'm gonna do some flow training today. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. You've got to dance next to a rail.
If you stride across a bunch of bars, you're fucking flowing.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's the same with connectivity as well. Like someone could view. So do you follow Leo Kirby?
Yeah.
Like that kid, he's talented. He's got some real good flips. He's got good power. His running prees are really, really good. But like his idea of connectivity is so like opposite to what my idea of connectivity is. Like his idea is like land cleanly, like almost stuck landing, and then sit on your bum and roll over, and then stand back up somewhere else. I'm like, what is the point in that?
I do like Leo. And I don't want to be mean, but we did like, there was a clip he did in a gym, where his like the post literally says on the description, like, working on my, like, I think it was connections.
Yeah.
And honestly, he just did one move, rolled, did another move, rolled, did another move, and rolled. And I just, it made me laugh so much. So I was just
That's
like,
probably my fault though, because I've trained like connections with him, and I've taken seminars on connections as well. Like I went to Beast Coast last year. I took a seminar on connectivity, but the whole seminar wasn't just teaching them roles. Like that was an aspect of it.
yeah.
But you should plan your line and place your flips so that they make sense. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you shouldn't have to stop and turn around to do another flip.
yeah, no.
You could, like,
And then
you could do
people will try and like they'll add connectivity in order to boost points as well. So where they could just like land a wall flip, turn, run, punch 5, right? You need a run up for a punch 5. They're doing wall flip, land, diddy roll, stand up, turn around, then run. I'm like, why have you done the diddy roll? They're like, well, I want connectivity. I'm like, but you're still in the same place and you're still going to the same thing. The diddy roll's not taking you anywhere. It's not putting you in a position. There's no point in doing it. You know,
it also looks really lame.
Yeah, man. If you have a limited amount of energy in your 90 seconds that you're doing a run, don't faff about. Don't start rolling around on the floor for no reason. You know, I think who's good at compete? Christian, 3-run Koval.
Yeah.
Dude will put like 4 nuts tricks in his run, and then some stuff he finds easy, like Webster's or like gainers, gainer full, stuff like that. Castaways. He's not building his run around those connections, right? He's building them around the big moves. He doesn't need to put something in the way of the next big move. It's a way of getting you to the next one. It's hard to explain. Connectivity is it's like a hard thing to like tell people about.
Yeah, it's one of those things I think you have to explore for yourself. You have to like work on the stuff that you think links your stuff well, not just like doing whatever. Like, for example, everyone, like, somehow the diddy roll has become a thing, and now everyone does a flip and just rolls on their bum and stands back up to do something else. And it's like, why don't you come up with like there's so many, like, you could like macaco out of the flip, or like do like honestly anything. Just like get yourself into another position. You don't have to roll on your bum. It's just people are just like, they see someone else do that and they go, oh, that works for them, so maybe I'll like just use it. And then because it's easy, everyone's using it, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
the suit certain people.
The biggest like advice, the best advice I can give for anyone that wants to like work on connection is just get rid of all of your steps. Don't take a single step in any of your like lines. Like maybe take one if you really need to like change where you are. If you're landing a gainer and you want to go into a gate flip, think about how you can land that gainer with your weight still, like your line of gravity still over your shoulders, so that you can put pressure on your hands to then kick a gate flip out. And then think about how you can land that gate flip short in a roll to place you next to the ledge you want to do a pin flip off of. Like, don't always land all your tricks super upright and super like tidy. Like DK does it so well. Like the way he'll land tricks short and roll to set up like, and he'll land in a scoot and then set up a dub. Like, just think about where you're ending the last flip and where you need to be for the beginning of the next flip, and that's connectivity.
What would you say, Marcus?
I was just saying 100%.
Good definition.
Yeah. I don't think adding in a move between flips is, by definition, they should be connecting two things. They shouldn't be another move, really.
No, exactly. The idea of training flow moves is like you're now training your lines to look worse and less connected. Do you know what I mean? If you really need a connection, the connection will just come naturally in the line building, but by having the mindset that you're not going to put something in between. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
the connection is there's a thing in linguistics called co-articulation. Sorry to bring my fucking degree into this.
You already lost the movement. Please continue.
But we don't. Good segue, right?
Yeah,
we don't like say phonemes and sounds in discrete segments. So if I wanted to say like hello to you, I wouldn't say the aspirated like. Do you know what I mean? And there's and what co-articulation is there's certain bits of those sounds that are blended with the bits of the next sound, but they're not a distinct sound in themselves.
Okay.
So if you were to say the words like boat and bone, you would be able to distinguish, if you took away the T and the N, you'd be able to distinguish which sound is coming just by listening to each bow. Because one is going to be nasalized and one's going to have a plosive stop.
And that applies to like landing the flip in a position ready to do the next thing.
Yeah. And that position isn't necessarily a trick in itself. That's not something you train. That's not something you learn how to do. It's something you do situationally in order to make the whole thing look better as
like slightly under rotating or slightly over rotating a certain thing and just like
man,
bringing it in.
Well, nice
over is like so hard to do.
Landing a front. That's my favorite combo, which I cannot do but to watch, is front walkout into double A. So that 2 steps, just that simple walkout is exactly that portion that you're suggesting that in the same way things like a DD roll should serve the same purpose as walking out to be able to pop into your double A.
The only time I think I'd use, so I use like not just DD rolls, but I use forward rolls like gymnastics, dead straight forward rolls. I use parkour rolls to set up half turns to back falls and stuff. And I use 360 dives and suicide rolls to cover like distance. If I've got somewhere if I need to travel the length of the gym to get to a bar that I want to do something off of, and there's space to run, 2-step punch, 360, suicide roll, cork, and then that'll set me up. That's 3 moves I put in that I practice regularly that I'll be able to do fine, and it puts me next to the bar. The same thing, if I need to travel like half a meter, I'll diddy roll. Actually, if you need to travel half a meter, just jump further, just land your flip a bit further. It's really not that hard. Like
that's a good shout, to be fair.
If you're competing, you should have complete control of your moves anyway. The moves you're doing in competition, you should have complete control of them. So placing them in a certain position isn't hard.
Yeah, that makes sense. For your out of interest, like, so I know Marcus was saying earlier when he judged at Scruffy Camp, his like idea of like where the different categories like stacked up is like he values like execution stuff higher. What do you value higher out of like a run? Like, would you rather the run was clean, or would you rather it was like technical and like, or like more creative or whatever, I guess, or like more difficult? Because I see a lot of people posting fucking difficult shit, and I'm like, yeah, but you didn't really land it, so
yeah. I see a lot of people posting difficult shit that is like everyone that can do like a round off double full now is like, it's super standard. Like if you do a double full at the end of a line, I'm kind of like, yeah, cool. Like you've trained some tumbling. But if you do like, do you see Joel Larson posted yesterday? He did scoot, Arabian kick out half. And I was like, fuck. Like in my mind, that scores double points a double full does any day. If you're doing a scoot double full at the end of a line, it just shows me that you've not thought about your movement at all. You're taking these things you can do, these skills that you're training, and you're just like cookie cutter, like building a jigsaw of like what. And that is how a lot of people train, right? That's how that's how I competed. I had certain moves that I could do, and I implemented them the same. But I don't necessarily want to watch that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I think if judging is to change, I'd want to see it change to favor fucking creative movement, like shit that I just cannot comprehend how that happened. You know?
Yeah. Then a lot of the more tricking side of stuff, like where people do like, well, I guess the more free running side. I see a lot of people, they just do the same shit on different wall, and it's like, I don't know, it feels very just like rehashy, which I guess parkour is the same. Like if you do a concrete, it's just the same on 2 different walls. But like, I think I don't know. There are always different elements, but I just like it feels a bit different when it's tricking because like especially when you see someone who can do like double falls like they're nothing. When they just do another double fall off a wall, it's kind of like, oh yeah, but that's like nothing to you. Whereas
Yeah.
like from little Kung Fu's, you have to build up a lot more, and like the fear factor is like different, I guess. But
Well, that's why we always we don't post the stuff we're good at necessarily when we're trying to share our training. We post the stuff that's new to us because
yeah,
it's it's easy for people to watch and see some diversity in your movement. Like that, there's that Nico Flow guy that everyone gasses,
yeah,
and I rate. He did like double at a beach, like scoot dub. I was like,
yeah,
that's fucking nuts. And he did scoot quad as well. I was like, that's sick. But then like everyone shares his other clips, which is just him doing like a reverse vault, a TDR and a double cork. I'm like, that's the same video you shared last time of him doing a TDR and a double cork. I feel like there's
yeah.
a lot of rehashing movement, like you said, like people just sort of, they do what they're good at for, it's what I did. I did what I was good at because it got fucking views and shit. And it got me to where I was in like Storm and all that. So I just kept doing it. It wasn't necessarily like good training. I wasn't even enjoying it really.
Do you think with the community where it is at the moment, is that like a necessary part of like growth as an athlete, do you think?
What do you mean?
So for someone to achieve a sort of certain amount of recognition, do they need to, in your opinion, do you think they need to sort of play that game a little bit and to sacrifice a little bit maybe of being a bit not disingenuous, but yeah, I mean, I can't put it better than just playing the game, really.
You're broadcasting yourself to different audiences. I think there's playing the game, and then there's doing parkour and playing that game. Playing the game online, there's maybe like 10,000 people that use Instagram to watch parkour clips, and they're part of the parkour community. Right? There's probably 10,000. There's probably another 20,000 that will watch parkour like I watch skateboarding. Like I'll follow Red Bull or whatever, and I'll follow some skateboarders, and I'll like the posts and shit, but I'm not particularly invested in the sport at all. Like, and then there's the rest of it is just the rest of the world. So there's like an inner bubble of 10K, and then there's 30K in total, and then the rest of the world. That 10K you don't have to worry about. You just got to go to events, you've got to train, you'll pick up that 10K super easy without selling your soul to fucking Weetabix or whatever. But if you wanna pick up a Weetabix sponsorship, you're gonna have to be marketable. You're gonna have to be training every day like a professional athlete, doing lines for the sake of doing lines. Like, it depends what your goal is, because I have more respect for you boys doing this than I do for, like, I'm not going to name names or anything, but people that like just churn content like endlessly. And it might be good, it might be bad or whatever, but like people that just churning content for the sake of approval of people they've never met on the internet, and potentially, Weetabix chucking them a couple £100. No offense, Robbie Griffith, I know you did a Weetabix sponsorship, but it's not about you, mate. I just thought it was funny.
I just like to put out there, if Weetabix want to sponsor this podcast, please do, because I'll fucking razz Weetabix. But we won't change it just because you want us to. We'll just keep it the same, but we'll eat Weetabix occasionally when we feel
Here's the thing. You don't have a choice of change. If they want it changed, they'll change it.
Here's the thing. If they want their Weetabix on our show, we ain't changed it.
You're not Joe Rogan, bro. You don't call these shots. Big Weetabix is more powerful than you can imagine.
Weetabix can't do shit to the Fifthunit podcast. We already don't get any views, so who cares?
Yeah, I mean, there's different audiences. If you want to do that, if you want to go that way, you can go and do that for sure. But I think there's a lot more value in. I've got a perfect example. Okay, so do you guys see the not Scruffy Boys, the Young Savages video?
Yes.
So there were two videos made, right? Yeah. There was Ampisound's video, and there was Ryan Kelly's video. Basically, what Young Savages is it's a group chat made by Tyler from Portland, and it's just like young. I say young. We were young at the time. I'm 21 now. Athletes that are like doing flips and stuff, and we share flip-based stuff, whether it's like trampolining or tricking or whatever, and we chat about it. And then one day we were like, we should just put our 3 best clips together and make a video for everyone to enjoy during lockdown. And we like made a little like Google Drive and we uploaded our clips. And then I put on my story that any editors want to just put this together, put it in a timeline with a track, some transitions. None of us have Final Cut or whatever. So like, we can't do it. We got Scott Bass said, yeah. And Ryan Kelly said, yeah. Ryan Kelly turned over the video in a week. Bang, exactly what we wanted. And it was like, it was raw. It was like really rough and like exactly how we wanted it. And Scott was a bit peeved that had happened. And he was like, well, I don't want to be the second guy to make the video. And I'm like, understandable. Yeah, fair enough. Like, but you know, if you've not started it yet, like it's fine. We've got an edit. We're just gonna put it out. And he was like, well, no, because I want this content for Ampersound. And I was a bit like, hold on a second. This isn't your content. You know, we said it was a private story. And I was like, look, does someone want to just put this together and send it back to me? And he was like, no, well, you know, I think it could be a really good video if I put some effort into it. I'm like, well, what are you going to do with it? And he was like, well, I was thinking of doing it as like a top 10 athletes video. And I was like, right. So you've taken this thing that was very grassroots to the community. It was just a group of friends online that were like, just sharing videos of each other and like stuff we were working on. And you've gone, oh, sick. I'll take all the clips you've compiled and I'm going to make it sellable to my audience of 1 million people, because I want that to improve my brand. Absolutely fair enough to Scott. Like, if I had that following and I needed content, and it's all of his jobs throughout summer have just been cancelled because of coronavirus, fair play. And like, we let him have the clips and do his video and stuff. We did both. But again, there's different audiences. Do you want the true to life, made in a week video for people like us? Or do you want the long form top 10 up and coming athletes with no context to it either? There were comments like, you should have included these people. You should have included these people. Whereas like, it should never have gotten to that stage where that many people were seeing it. Really, it was something that I'd put on my story. I'd message it to my mates. They'd watch it, fun video. And then Scott made it this like sellable thing. Mm-hmm. Fair enough on both sides. Do both by all means, like 100% do both. I'm very anti-corporate when it comes to parkour.
100%. I think we share the similar view in a sense, and I think that's probably part of the reason why we sort of like gelled so well, is because we share those similar values. I think we've always felt the same about creating content for the community, because I think there's more longevity in it. You'll look back on this I think I was saying this to Chris, that the biggest goal for me up there is being able to contribute to a sort of pool of things that people can hopefully draw inspiration from, not because I want to inspire people, but because I'm getting inspiration from this and I want to be able to contribute to that. So there's that, but then almost above it all is I want to like be able to relive these memories and these experiences in like 30 years, 40 years, and just make it a thing. I don't want to bring in the wider population.
It's not theirs. It's not theirs.
Yeah. It's not about them. It's not about them at all. It's about us and just fucking having a good time.
Yeah.
I rated Ryan Kelly's video so much higher. Just
man.
So much better.
Yeah. But, and it was more consumable as well because it was catered to our tastes.
Yeah, and it didn't feel like it felt more like a natural team video, whereas like I guess Scott tried to brand it as like a top 10 athletes sort of thing.
Yeah.
Scott came across that way so much, and I was like, yeah, but if I wanted to watch a video like that, I'd just type in best parkour on YouTube and it would come up.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
PKFR's top 10 athletes, and I'd watch their shitty edit, but.
Yeah, and I absolutely fair play to Scott though.
Edit. Yeah, no, yeah.
This isn't. I'm not just chatting shit behind his back. We speak often and we're good, and I've worked with him obviously twice now technically, and he's a sick guy, and he needs to make money and he needs content and fair enough. But it was that sort of, it's not corporate greed, but it sort of felt like it was like you've taken, and he was a mate as well, so I was like, this is really shit. But weighing it up realistically, like fair enough to him.
I think you just have to look at all these things from like both sides of the coin. For like, well, like we always say, we want to keep all our shit like as raw and like as real as possible, and not sell out. But some people some people want to make money and want to do all that other shit that we like maybe aren't so driven by. And you can't try and tell someone that that's not right, because that's what they want to do. And if that's how they enjoy and how they want to be, that's totally fine.
Yeah, man.
As long as they're having a good time, I don't mind.
Yeah. I mean, I've had enough messages from people going, well, you don't do enough jumps, to know that you shouldn't just tell people what to do with the sport. Like it's theirs to do what they want with.
Sure.
But and that's also not to say there's still two sides to the corporate coin. Like I don't actually know Jesse LaFleur that well, but he just did a GQ asks a parkour expert about parkour movies. That's fucking sick, man. That's so cool that they got Jesse in.
I don't know if you watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But he did the descent. He was Rickety Cricket doing the descent.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of sick.
And the fact that he was talking about scenes that he's been in, and that he pushed for a descent, and he pushed for it to be as real as possible. That's so sick. But then also, on the other side of the corporate coin, he's doing that. Have you seen this ultimate tag?
No.
Oh yeah, I've seen bits of it. Yeah, just like some adverts.
I love Sydney Olsen. She's so cool. She's such a cool guy. But like,
good guy.
Come on, man. Like what? Like, but she needs to make money.
People got to make that dollar.
But you know,
like we could argue about we could argue. Not that anyone's arguing, but you can put the two against each other all day long. But the fact remains that the community benefits from both.
Yeah, absolutely.
You need money in from there, but you also need that core sort of community. It grows through both avenues.
Absolutely.
The thing that I find the thing I always find is like not wrong, but doesn't agree with my opinion, is that a lot of people say that we should push the culture. They describe it as pushing the culture when they take their shit and market it to everyone, like to the outside of the culture. And I'm like, that's not pushing the culture. That's opening out the culture as a brand to someone else, which is fine. We need to do that. We need to get more people. Like Stora do it really well. They because they have 5 million on YouTube, they're so engaging to a bunch of like little kids. So the next generation are going to be people who say, "Oh, I watched Stora, and that's how I got into training." But like, you also need to push the culture in the fact that like make these like more like niche videos that only apply to the people who are really into parkour. Because as much as those 5 million that watch Stora like parkour, half of them aren't going to train. Like I say half.
Oh, more than half.
1% of them. 1% of them are going to stay training and actually get involved in the culture and are going to enjoy these niche videos. And the other ones, who cares? Because they don't train anymore.
Yeah.
Like, so I think you need to it's getting that fine balance, and Story do it quite well in the fact that they obviously make their marketable videos that come out every Monday, but then they also save up clips for stuff like the new C&J video and shit like that, where it's actually like that sort of stuff is pushing the niche cultural side of parkour as opposed to the brandable cultural side of parkour.
And you know, it's not a very nuanced opinion, but I really like Stora. I think they're doing really, really well and a really good job. It's not particularly controversial, and I think that that's a good thing. It's because they came from this place of like, it was just chaos. Like they fully came from chaos. Like all their videos were like a scruffy summer camp. Like it was fully came from the pits of like where the whole culture comes from, and they're still true to it. Like their recent video, they get threatened with a baseball bat and boiling water, and I was like, Benj, I know the feeling. Just the other week, old guy threatened to break my neck. Like it's true, and there's no confrontation either. They don't get in fights. They're not up on buildings, you know, acting like dickheads. They're not uploading like weird like rooftop, but like also modeling pictures that are like really cringily edited. Yeah. I don't know. It's like you see a lot of people that are like, especially back in the day, that were like urban exploration. Like they'd like wear like a face mask and a hat, and they'd like look like that, and they'd like maybe hold a handgun up.
There are a lot of people that do that. It's
man.
I feel like parkour sort of pushed that away. Everyone was like, "No, we don't want this."
Yeah, which is good. Star
Yeah,
is definitely redefining the public image of parkour. And then
slowly but surely, but it's like it's still very obscured in the fact that, well, like I guess I don't know. I feel like where we live is like very everyone like no one gives like not they don't give a shit, but like then like no one ever gets aggressive anymore really, except for one police officer who we just don't engage with. But
yeah,
but I feel that that's just because like for example, Marcus has been training here for like 10 years, and like we've never been the sorts to just be like aggressive. Like we've always just been like, yeah, it's fine,
yeah.
whatever we're going. So we have like, but like I understand that but I don't have that perspective of like a bigger city of like how that actually goes because I'm white and rich and live in Surrey. So
The other thing is Surrey, I think, is as a place is very open to the ideas of sort of alternative. I mean, the amount of people that are doing yoga and I know this is nationwide, but Surrey is the only one I know, and it's just things like yoga, Pilates, spiritualism. That stuff is fucking everywhere. I think people are more accepting here than maybe in, you know, Croydon. Maybe that's a sweeping statement. I'm not sure, but
I think that I get the most problems with old people. Definitely,
yeah,
definitely
so
people over 40. They just have no time for it.
they don't mind it. They're just like, oh, that's cool. I wish I could do that still. And I'm like, yeah, well, give it a go. But then they hate skateboarding. That's the weird thing. It's like I'll be like skateboarding to go do parkour, or like I mean I do a mix of both sometimes. But like
Yeah.
I'll, like skate somewhere, and then someone will get aggressive at me for like being on a skateboard, and then like, but that like if I see them like a different day when I don't have the skateboard and I'm just training, they're like totally fine. So I don't really know why that is.
because it's
It's like,
loud, man. Honestly, it's
I
loud.
guess.
Yeah.
But then we're pretty rowdy when we're at spots. But I don't know.
To consolidate all the points, there's going to be different avenues for every practitioner of the sport. You know, for every content creator, there needs to be a consumer, and for every grassroots, dingy, quickly made Instagram clip edit, there needs to be
Shout out Marcus Dale.
there needs to be like multi-million-dollar productions that like Storo were working on with Michael Bay, and like I got to work on Cats with fucking Storm. Well, I didn't really work on it. I did some stunt like choreography with them.
He's talking.
That is a power move, man. No.
Sorry, that was James being a classic. I don't know what I was doing.
That's jokes.
Sorry,
Yeah,
continue.
but they're all equally important to the parkour economy as a whole. You know, they might not be important to the individual. You know, like I value Scruffy Boys, Keeper, like you guys, and like even like myself, like the stuff that I invest my time in, and like my very small following, the stuff that I like share and choose to put out, I'm invested in that way more than I'm invested in like growing as like a content creator or whatever, or as an influencer, or even being like remotely sellable at all. But for every one of me, there needs to be another, you know, Dom who's able to make money from the sport and travel the world and be a really good influence on all the kids that will then end up being consumers of his content, or maybe my content, and then maybe I don't know. They're all equally important to the general parkour economy, like as a whole.
Yeah. Well, I feel like so the people like Dom and Story who bring people into the sport, they're like their initial thing. They're like, oh yeah, that's how they found it, and then the grassroots shit is why they stay. It's because they're like, oh, this is the cool shit I can keep watching if I stay in the sport, or if I keep doing parkour, I guess, and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like they're brilliant attention grabs, like flashy Instagram clips and stuff, and insane feats of strength and stuff like that is like a really good way of grabbing people's attention. But even that super marketable, sellable stuff, when I got to a point where I had to start doing that with Storm, and had to be considering like, okay, I'm in a vlog or whatever, how do I act in a vlog? Oh, I'm expected to train. Like there's an expectation that I wear the clothes and I make clips. And I was like, this is not the point of the sport. This isn't the point. This is an avenue for someone for sure, but it's not what I want to be doing. And then that's sort of where I diverged. And then I was a bit resentful towards the sport for a long time because I was like, well, the sport, everyone's selling out. I was like, really? No, they're not. They're not selling out. I was in a community of people that were making money off commercial work, or trying to at least. And I was like, right, I don't like this. I was very anti-corporate. And then Jack Dodds in particular saved me from quitting the sport together. Just going to Plymouth and training with him, like, and just being a fucking degenerate once a week and fucking about with the scruffy boys saved me. And it was like,
a bunch of degenerates.
you don't have to be sellable, you don't have to be marketable. That's not a product of training parkour. That's a product of this other aspect of the sport that you don't have to be a part of if you don't want to be. And I didn't want to be, so I dropped it. But that's not to say that doesn't have its merit. You know, they need to make Jump Britain for fucking, who got inspired by Jump Britain? They were like Bear Freerunners loved it, didn't they?
Everybody.
Kai, I think everyone watched Jump Britain, didn't they?
Name anyone who is big.
And yeah.
Then, I watched Jump Britain. Marcus, did you watch Jump Britain?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
see,
like, but you know,
Fifth Unit wouldn't even be a thing if Jump Britain didn't exist.
Exactly, but then to have that exist, you need people that are willing to work with like dickhead TV executives, dickhead marketing people that are like, oh, we know we want you to be like this. You've got to change yourself to be like this. And that's the same with like Jesse LaFleur right now. What he's doing with GQ was fucking such a good opportunity. And then, you know, sometimes you've got to let the marketing guy call you Spitfire, Sydney Olsen. And it might be sick. Like, it might actually be sick. It might be sick, but it's so important that it happens. Do you know what I mean? It's just cool that it's even happening. Like, but that doesn't mean you've got to. Doesn't mean you've got to watch it. Doesn't mean you've got to partake in it. You know what I mean?
No. Everyone has like a choice. If they want to be part of that, they can. If they don't want to be part of that, then that's fine.
Yeah. And the cringy shit as well. The cringy shit was never like, we never stopped training because people would shout parkour at us, right? We're a counterculture. We do it in spite of social norms in place, right? The whole thing is counterculture. We're not expected to be able to do these, like, to be fair, it's crazy shit as well, like, that we're doing. Like, you get the police called on you and your mates are up on a roof and you're like watching bags down or whatever. And they're like, can you go and get your mates? And you do a wall pop and they're like, fuck. Right.
You know what's
quite strong.
Brings me back to like a conversation with Alex Witchell. I don't know if you know Alex Witchell, old school head from Horsham. But we're like standing on this wall in Horsham, like a candy box, and it's like got to be like, I don't know, it's quite half the ground, and we're all just standing there, like not giving a shit, like just talking, like. And he's like, imagine being a normal person standing on this wall. You'd be shitting yourself. And
yeah.
Like, don't care. It's always weird when you look at it from that perspective. Like when you're always like, oh yeah, I'm just going to jump to there, and they're like, you're going to jump to there? What? How?
Yeah,
it's kind of mad.
It's a cool sport. Like, there's no denying. Like, it's fucking cool. What we do is sick, and we all think it's cool.
I think it's fucking cool.
Everyone should think it's cool, but like, there was definitely a time when I was involved in like the more corporate-y kind of, like, we're training for this purpose, right? I was like, this isn't cool. I was adamant. I was like, this is fucking lame. This is not cool. And I put it on my social media and shit. Hemorrhaged followers. Just like, I was like, parkour's not cool. That's not true. Like, I was in a part of the culture that I didn't like. Whereas realistically, then I went and started being a degenerate with Jack Dodds again. And I was like, yes. And I can do it with Phil and Tinloy. You can get on bikes and go for pints and kebabs and then do flips. It's sick.
And you realised it's cool as fuck.
Yeah, man.
We ain't lame, bro. I'm not lame.
The best thing for me is just like sitting on the floor with like 3 days worth of sweat with your fucking best mates, eating like muesli out of like a takeaway cup. It's just, that is the shit.
Only Yuri in the muesli out of a takeaway cup. That you bring for yourself. Everyone else is eating their like peanut butter sandwich,
meal deal or whatever.
Meal.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying. That like, exactly, the degenerate aspect of it is key.
Yeah, man. It's counterculture.
Brought me in, so
yeah. Like, for me, it was like, I'm not here to be sellable. I'm not here to be likable. I'm not here to even to make money. Although that's like that never even factored into it. I was never making money when I was like trying to be a pro athlete or whatever. The best times from Storm were when I was at events, just hanging in a sweaty sleeping bag with like some dudes from Russia, or as I was at Woodward, like sat on the grass with the kids talking about their home life and how parkour's like perceived at where they're from in the US, and like how much they try and train and their aspirations. And I was like, that, like the fact that it's even like a global culture at all was like the coolest thing to me. Like I wasn't even like, Storm was filming a video. We were meant to be doing like a Woodward video. We were meant to be doing like challenges and stuff. That wasn't on my radar at all. I was there like just gassed that like there was this camp full of like-minded people that I could go and chill with. And it doesn't matter if it's you guys in Plymouth, or if it's, you know, For the Love of Movement, or if it's like a slack line at Woodward. You're going to have cool conversations with like-minded people, and you're going to be able to share this one thing you're all really, really passionate about. That's what it's about for me.
100%.
Yeah, and some jumps.
Yeah, man, and the jumps. And it doesn't matter what you train either. It doesn't matter what you train.
Absolutely not.
I can still train with Phil. You think I'm on the same level as Phil in parkour? No fucking way. No way.
No,
but we can still try. You know, we can still try a cat pass together, and maybe he wants help with his tumbling, and I'm like, yeah, cool. Let me help you.
Yeah,
like
something I really, really rate in Fifth Unit is that like there's a lot of us, like we're all very varying skill levels at the moment, like, but there's never a minute where someone is like not gassing up someone on what someone else does. Like even if someone of the, like, I'm not gonna like put people into grasp, but if like someone who's not doing something that's not necessarily hard for someone else, they're still fucking gassed when the other person gets it. They're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I love it so much. Because it's just it's like just appreciating everyone else getting their shit. Like it's not about like skill levels or anything like that. We're just having a good time no matter what we're doing.
Never is about skill level. Like it shouldn't be about skill level. Like I think if you really pride yourself on your ability as an individual athlete, and that's your main concern, you're missing like 90% of the sport. Like if you're not gassed when you're working on a challenge with a group of people, or if you're not gassed when someone who is worse than you, if you don't recognize the struggle, do you know what I mean? When someone's like fucking scared of something, and like then they finally get it. If you're not concerned with that, we're not even doing the same sport, in my opinion. Like it's not even the same thing.
Yeah, you're just like not vibing off the same shit. Like you're just trying to do shit, and then someone else is there. You're not like enjoying everything, like the full aspect of someone else.
Yeah,
like,
man.
What's going on.
Yeah. It's like, I think that was like people's issue with competition in the early days, was like, it's not about competition. It's not about being the best. And like, I do see a lot of people that very clearly train for comp, and it's a bit like, yeah, okay, I see you're working really hard and whatever, but that again, that's an aspect that I don't enjoy. But you don't have to partake in that aspect at all.
No. But then also I think like with competition, there's like still that level of, I don't see anyone sort of hoping someone else doesn't land their trick. Like everyone's still fucking gassing on everyone doing
Actually, at Apex and then at NAPC, I had an interaction with the same dude about, so we were building our lines and stuff, and then Rez came over and was like, okay guys, can you walk me through your lines so that we can get it on camera, we know what you guys are doing, and we have an idea of like what's going on, if we need to move anything or whatever. And they were like, no, it's cool, we talked it through. And I was second to last, and I said, yeah, doing this, down monkey, scoot, back fall, worm, cast, and then up to here, then diving, gate, lay. And then he went to the next guy and he went, yeah, I'm doing this. And he went, yeah, and then what Charlie said at the end as well. And I was like, this motherfucker stole my line.
This guy.
Dickhead. And then I was like, okay, like, is what it is, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then at NAPC, he was kind of concerned about what would score higher for his big trick. And he was asking a group of us that were competing with him, because we were the only ones allowed in the gym. And he said, yeah, but why would I listen to you guys? Maybe you're trying to undercut me and win. And I'm like, motherfucker, relax. We're friends. We're chilling. This is like, if this isn't fun to you, like, we're not doing the same sport. And like, if you're not gassed when I land my big trick, like, I feel bad for you, man, because you don't experience the same joy that I feel when I see you land yours. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I don't know. It's weird.
Someone who embodies the being gassed for other people is Alfie Green. I don't know if you know him,
Yes.
but honestly,
Yeah.
he put it really well to me once. He was saying that he never really got why his dad enjoyed football so much, and then he sort of looked at himself reacting to what happens in parkour, and then he got why his dad cheered, because like he's gassed on them scoring and that sort of stuff, and it's
Yeah.
like we're gassed on someone else like doing something sick, and it's just like. It's so sick. I
Well,
honestly, I love
it's
being
like,
around Alfred. It's just like, fuck yes! I'm like, fucking come on.
yeah, man. It's like boats in the harbour. If the level rises, we all should rise. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one should be like drastically ahead of someone else just in spite of them, like just because they've put in more time and they refuse to share, you know, any level of gas. Also, that's not to say that I don't like get annoyed with people. Like, for the love, a lot of the time when there's a lot of high level athletes jamming on something, you will get a lot of people in the way that aren't jamming on it, but they just want to be around it. You guys heard the term lurker?
No, not really.
Like what I know it means.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lurkers, aren't there? There's people that are like they are about it in essence. They're like, yeah, I'm about it. I'm with this. I'm with these guys. We're all just training.
Like, be a part of it, but they're not really
Yeah,
doing.
we're just training swing cast fools, man. Like, you wouldn't understand. I'm like, motherfucker, you're up here in the way. Every time someone wants to have a go, they need to ask, "Are you going?" And you've been chalking up for half an hour. I'm like, bro. But like again, like if they were trying and they were struggling, and I'd be like, that's cool. But they just weren't about it. They were there for that aesthetic and they were there to be part of the clips or whatever. But again, like all these little deviations and stuff that I'm explaining, like they're anomalies from people. They're not like classic cases within the sport. Like, you might experience a few lurkers one day if you're around like big enough groups of people.
Yeah, I think like that's never like as a whole. There's not like a group chat of lurkers who just like.
Oh yeah,
Like,
no.
there just happens to be like one guy at a jam who's just not quite got the same mindset as everyone else, but
Yeah.
that guy can do himself, you know, whatever.
Yeah, man. Like, they can do what they want to do, but like, I definitely do get annoyed at people like that. You know, parkour's you're not always like super friendly to everyone all the time. You know what I mean?
I'm not friendly to anybody a lot of the time, and it's really sad because I don't feel like I'm a mean person, but when I'm at a jam and I'm trying to train, and someone like
Yeah, exactly.
comes over to like a good representation is when I did the double down in London at IMAX. I was like prepping it all out, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then some like guy who I literally met on the day had no information of how good he was at anything. Like he'd maybe done one standing pre while I was there, and he comes over and starts like trying to give me little ideas of how to break it down. And I'm like, motherfucker, no offense, but I don't know you. Like, how am I going to know how good you are if any of your advice is useful?
Yeah.
So I sort of just went, look, I'm sorry, but whatever you say right now, I'm not listening, because I'm trying to figure this out in my head, and I don't need someone who I don't know how good, like not the skill level, but like I need to know that you actually know the ins and outs of this double down.
Yeah. Well, the difference is participation, isn't it? The difference is you build these bonds with people through participation in the sport, and sharing your training clips on Instagram counts as active participation in a global community. And then your merit to be able to meet people at jams and experience these things with them. That's not to say if you're not on Instagram, you know, or even if you have Instagram clips and you're not training at a jam, you're still a lurker. Like, it doesn't really work like that. It's just like,
it just depends on how you feel on the day. Like, I think if you don't feel like training, that's fine, but I feel like you shouldn't get involved. Like, if you're not training the same thing as someone else, or you're just sort of standing there and then trying to give advice that you don't actually know what you're talking about, maybe just leave that alone. Just go chill somewhere else and just watch what's going on, as opposed to trying to be involved.
Like, if you were doing the double down, I'm not going to come and give you tips on how to do a double down personally. But if you were doing like even a Kong pre or something like that's more general of a skill, because the double down is pretty fucking niche. Like, there's only one of that size and that drop in the world, and it's there. But like, I don't have to be training the Kong Pri to give you tips about the Kong Pri because you know me as a person.
Yeah, well,
And
I know you can Kong and Pri, so
yeah, so yeah, it's chilling. But even like the double down, a ridiculous thing to be like,
yeah.
I've got this. I know exactly what you need to do. You don't.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't say he knew exactly what he needed to do. He was just like, "Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that?" And I was like, "I'm going to do none of those."
Yeah,
Listen, stop asking me. Like, I don't know, but
yeah.
it's
That's
weird.
what I
But
like
I'm very
about parkour.
competitive.
I
I'm
like
like,
that it's an individual sport. Team sports are just dumb. I'm not a fan of team sports.
I mean, I don't mind team sports, but like, because I don't know, a lot of my like, I don't trust other people. I think is my main thing. I don't
Yeah,
like when you cross a road, I don't trust a car to stop. So
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
it's all on me whether I make it across the road or not, based on my judgment of like, can I beat the car across the road or whatever. So I feel like that's the same with parkour. Is like, as much as someone can give me tips, it all needs to be whether I know I can do it, as opposed to like someone else trying to tell me whether they think I can or whether they think I
Yeah,
can't. Like, you know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
a lot of people ask me about like prepping for dives and stuff. They're like, "Oh, do you do this?" I'm like, "No, I just like do this and then I'm ready." And they're
Mm,
just like, why do you do this? It doesn't make any sense. I'm like, because I don't need to.
mm,
That doesn't work for me. You only
yeah,
have to do, you should only do preps that work for you. You shouldn't just do stuff just because someone else says that works for them. You need
yeah,
to
yeah,
find
yeah,
out what works for you and get it through, I guess.
yeah. It's an individual sport. It's different for every person. There's going to be
100%.
anomalies and cases that differ every single time.
Yeah. Something that I find interesting is that I feel that you've always had a good perspective of underrated athletes in the fact that like, I remember the first, I think it was a summer for the love when I met you the first time. I just remember talking to you about Joel Larson before he had like as many followers as he does now.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
was
yeah,
like, this guy knows what's up. He's like looking into who's going to be big and stuff. And I always like rated that because I love when people love the sport enough to like look for the little things that are going to turn into something big. If
yeah,
that
yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Joel Larson being a prime example is someone who like
Absolute
went
killer.
from
Travis
not
Verkey
being
as well.
insane. Yeah, Travis as well.
But
Insane.
I was lucky with Travis because he's in the next county over in the southwest. So
Yeah.
like I heard about him. I didn't actually even train with him. I just sort of heard and I saw clips and I was like, fuck. So
I never met Travis, but before he even did like anything big, he added me on Facebook, and I was like, "Who's this guy?" So that was kind of crazy. But I think that's because he knew, because I was good friends with like all the Brewman lot, so I guess it was like
yeah,
mutual.
yeah, yeah. Just having your ear to the street in a sense that there's cool content out there and there's cool original stuff going on. I think it stems from just like, again, not being a fan of the uh it all stems back to the fact that it's counterculture, and I'm like, I don't want to be doing what everyone else is doing. Like I just get bored of it, man. I get really, really bored of it. If everyone's on a trend of like a Kong Pri, everyone's doing Kong Pris or whatever, I'm gonna unfollow people because I'm just like, I've seen this 100 times, man. Like it
Yeah.
just gets boring, and then you end up finding people that are doing like nut stuff that inspires you. Because you know what I mean when I say like the reason parkour inspired us in the first place is because we couldn't do what they were doing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I was sort of just like, oh, I want to do what they're doing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, 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 exactly.
yeah.
And but then when I start seeing people doing stuff that like I can do or that other people can do, it's just getting a bit played out and a bit like, come on now, like I'm a bit bored. And then I just end up finding like bare Japanese dons that are doing like really weird wall tricks.
Straight up.
Yeah, there are bare Japanese dons out there.
Yeah, they're so good, like so insanely good. And they're just their movements like insane. Oh yeah. That's how I enjoy consuming content from the sport. Like I want to have that same sense of wonder I had when I saw Storm Volume 1 for the first time. And I was like, mind blown. I'm not interested in seeing like even like played out clips like Manpower and stuff. Like they're classic and kudos to anyone that does it. But like I'm not necessarily like super gassed on watching it. And when it comes to like consuming parkour content as a whole, it gets quite samey and it gets quite boring. So you've got to keep an eye on like who's sick or who's gonna be sick, because you don't just want to watch sick people. You want to experience that like, yo, like this guy's got this now. Like like you would at a jam, like you'd watch them struggle and like progress and shit, and like
yeah. It's the build up.
It's interesting that you say that, or to talk about parkour being a sort of counterculture, because it is 100%. But I've always not agreed when people outside of the sport, I think, have the impression that we are rebelling, and to a certain degree, yes, but it's not like a fuck the law, fuck the rules. It's not.
Yeah, no.
But there is an element of trying to achieve what isn't the norm. It's a funny sort of balance, but I haven't ever really heard anyone talk about it, especially in a way that you just have.
But yeah, I mean, it's worth thinking about what elements of it are like contrary to social norms and stuff, and not only social norms, but like the norms of human ability, like what is perceived as like possible. I think one thing that we like overlook is our influence on the public when they see us executing something really well. When someone in the public sees a group of young guys being rowdy and like listening to music or whatever, sat around eating a meal deal, they might think like, oh, degenerates or whatever, like they're like layabouts not doing anything. When they see someone like do something that actually takes skill, that's going to shift their general perception like a little bit, and it's going to make everyone a little bit more tolerant of each other, like not to get too hippie or whatever, but ultimately it's going to make people kind of understand what's going on a little bit more, and maybe then that they'll take that same perspective and look at skateboarding and be like, that takes real skill, fair enough, like fair play. And hope that, you know, all we can do is hope for them to empathize and be like cool with us jumping on their walls and whatnot.
Definitely. And that's why I think there's an element of responsibility about performing to an, yes, push yourself, but performing, especially in the public, within your sort of boundaries, because you do influence how the public sees the sport. So if you're doing, I mean, the obvious example, a roof gap, if you're doing a roof gap that's a risk for you and is taking you a long time to prep, and multiple times when you run up and say, I can't do it, the public sees you go through that. But if you've trained enough at ground level, if you've trained everything that you're confident to work through that process in the same way, you know, to manage that fear really effectively, that's going to influence the way that the public sees the sport and sees the way that we approach things.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's as well, like parkour's in a really nice spot right now where there isn't any glory in, you know, in just mental, like just crazy feats. Actually, you know what? Actually, within the parkour community, there isn't, because you'll get ridiculed. But within like viral Instagram stuff, there is, like jumping across a gap with no tech and just like fucking it up and shit. Like there was a video of a guy double side flipping a gap, and he like barely skimmed his heels and then like rolled onto his back. I was like, he's not controlled at all. He just hucked it. Like yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say there's no light at the end of the tunnel for people that are looking for fame by just like trying to be really, really good at the sport. So it's trying to influence people to be a bit more controlled and a bit more like precise with what they're doing and how they're training and stuff for longevity. But actually that's not true. There's definitely still people that chuck themselves because the clip will look good.
I think there's always going to be people that just chuck themselves, but like they're never long lasting really. I don't know, but like I certainly like, I think they might get like some acclaim in the muggle side of things where people see it on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, like, oh my god, that's mental, but like everyone in the parkour community sort of sees it and goes, that's not, like, you know,
yeah,
I'm not going to follow you. Like, for example, I don't follow Corkboy just because he's doing stupid cork. I might check in occasionally because sometimes he does some weird shit, but like I don't give him any like I don't sit there and go, oh, Corkboy's one of the best in the world, like one of the best at corks, because he's sending the maddest corks. I just sort of like think, oh, he's just a guy who's trying really hard, but like not taking into consideration like his skill level at the appropriate times, I guess.
Another example of this, and actually I think it's a bit of an unfair example, having now known the guy, but do you remember when Satchel did the double down at IMAX? And
everyone went nuts, didn't they?
Yeah, and this was before people really or at least people in the UK really sort of understood who THC were and understood, firstly, the fucking unreal level that Satchel is. and with parkour as well, I don't think anyone knew who he was. So he was like hounded by. I mean, I remember Giles, I remember Toby Seeger. Everyone swarmed on that video because it was this sort of a jump into sort of send it culture that no one wanted.
Yeah.
And as I said, it's a bit of an unfair example, but that is demonstrating exactly what we're talking about. That if people do or are perceived to be breaking that sort of boundary of their abilities, they are hounded by the community, but not necessarily of the wider public.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the unfortunate situation for Satchel is he doesn't film anything or post anything on Insta, so no one knew who he was other than his occasional try-hard clip, when in reality Satchel fucking is insanely good and trains every day.
Unreal.
Yeah. Nobody would look at the double down and think, yeah, I'll send it. Do you know what I mean?
No.
It's
Definitely not.
fucking nuts to dive onto your head and then take a drop after. Or you're not diving onto your head, but you're diving head first, right? Hips up, feet behind you,
Always the first.
catching a wall, and then hopefully catching the wall enough to block and bring your hips back through and get your feet beneath you before you take another like story drop to a stair set.
Yeah, that second drop is actually quite big. I always forget how big that drop is.
Huge.
Yeah, it's definitely not something I don't think anyone would look at and just be like, oh yeah, I'll just give that a go today. It's more of like a preparation thing, I guess.
Yeah, but in that sense, IMAX is a good stomping ground for people that want to make themselves known as talented.
Yeah.
Like, I remember there was a guy that bailed IMAX Grand Prix, the beefy one, and he was like begging people like, don't share the clip. He like hit it and then craned into a full split and then like fell onto his back.
Oh, is that Harry Davies?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna like.
The clips come out, bro. I swear the clips come out.
Yeah, it came out later.
Yeah. I don't think he's embarrassed by it. Like, I mean, I've met Harry a couple of times, like over the year. Well, I haven't seen him in years, but he used to come train in Guildford a lot, and I've always like recognised his skill level. So I'm not gonna like sit here and be like, oh, he's shit because he built.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, I've never met him, but from what I've heard, like, it's the same thing with the Satchel clip. Like, people understand that what they're putting out is how they'll be perceived and stuff. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the thing is, like, when I bailed IMAX and like fell over in like a pool of blood, I gained like 2K followers. So 2,000 people that follow me on Instagram all just think that I'm some guy who couldn't do something, I guess. I don't know. But like that's their immediate representation of what my like skill level is, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is totally fair because that is what happened.
But in my mind, like, Instagram's never going to be an accurate representation of someone's skill level, ever. Because right now it's a platform for advertisers and people to market them, not only themselves, but for people to market their products through other people. People doing ad deals and stuff. People making themselves sellable and then getting bought by someone to then sell something. Like, it's never going to be an accurate representation of who someone is and their skill level and stuff. Which is why, like, even I've got a Finsta, like, because I don't really care about being marketable or sellable or whatever, but I'm also not going to flood people's fucking people that don't want to see it feed with like pictures of like memes and stuff and fucking weird shit from uni.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, even I'm reluctant to like be like, fuck this fucking lame counting numbers and stuff. I don't really care about it and like tarnish that thing that I've built for so long. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I like had a weird phase like over lockdown where I just wasn't enjoying Insta at all, and I was like, maybe I should just delete it. And then I was like, yeah, but then I spent like loads of time putting out like effort, like all the stuff I upload to Insta, I put effort into, and like I mainly enjoyed. And so why would I get rid of that just because I view it in a negative way?
Yeah.
Like, I was like my main like thought process to like keep my Insta was the fact that like not the following I built up, but all the stuff that I'd put effort into would then be lost because I don't have the clips anymore and shit like that. And like, I'd rather keep that like saved load of stuff and just not put as much effort into caring about like the following side and just into the sharing of the content and like the enjoyment I get from making like a little like Insta clip edit, I guess.
Well, that is just a product of the platform, that it demonstrates that there is no longevity in Instagram clips. You're saying that you lose that Instagram account and that's all gone. It's horrible. It's horrible. But then
it's not all gone.
Same for YouTube as well. If YouTube decided we're going to shut the whole platform down, we've lost a lot of vids.
we lost. We're out. We're done. Parkour's over.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I mean, Instagram came as an answer to a generation that everyone wanted to be famous. Really, everyone saw this upper echelon of like society, and were like, we can achieve that. It's achievable. And even within parkour, you know, there is an element still of wanting. There's gratification in posting and getting feedback and being like, yes, this is valued. Someone's enjoying what I'm doing, and then like, everyone's broadcasting what they're doing to each other all the time, and they're only picking the best bits. So now whenever I see anything on Instagram, I'm like, yeah, all right, like, cool. Fucking, are you really on holiday, you know, having a great time? Or is this from like a year ago? I'm like, fuck, I don't really know these people either. Like, these people that I fucking knew from like college or something. And I'm like, what is the point? Why are you broadcasting all this stuff? Like, I don't really get it. And then I see people doing like parkour clips, they're just churning out clips for clips sake, and I'm like, wow, this is the same thing. Like, I don't know. Yeah, Instagram's messy. It's a muddy place right now.
It is muddy. I think, like, fortunately it's not quite as muddy as TikTok, but it is just like, it's getting that sort of way where, like, especially when people share TikToks to Instagram, and the fact that like TikTok to me, it just seems like the place where you take someone else's creativity of like something they came up with, and then you do it yourself so that it then becomes your video. And it's like when people do the challenge videos, it's like you're not doing something that you've come up with. You're now just trying to take something that someone else did and do it as well for views' sake.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like Instagram could head in that direction if people keep favoring that TikTok thing, and like people just keep sharing like random shit that they do, or like they challenge other people to do.
What that TikTok format is, when it takes like normal people or like girls with a BTEC in dance, like their inability to draw any kind of like gratification from the app, especially when they're just like, especially if we're going to talk about girls, like the amount of shit on Instagram that is photoshopped to make them want to buy products and shit. It's just used as a marketing tool now. TikTok gives them a platform to join in with a trend and then perform that trend in front of the viewership of that trend. They don't actually need to have any good ideas or work particularly hard at anything in order to get the gratification they want to get from that thing. Do you know what I mean? And in the meantime, it's fun as well. It's something to do. It takes you 20 minutes to practice a little dance and then do it. And then it's on a trend and you can scroll past it and you get a few million views or whatever.
Yeah. It's all a bit weird to me.
Yeah, I'm not really about it anymore.
A funny relationship with it as well. But
it's because you're a funny guy.
No beef to anyone that does TikTok dances, by the way, or to anyone with a BTEC in dance.
Poor BTEC people with BTEC dance.
I did 2 BTECs, bro. I got 2 BTECs, 2 A levels.
Will either of them dance?
No, one of them was journalism, though.
Oh,
a waste of fucking time.
I wish at school I had the balls to do BTEC dance or something like that. I don't know. I feel like if I'd ever put some time into learning how to dance, it'd be fucking sick. But I didn't. I was too scared to be like, oh, I want to do this, so I didn't. In the same as singing, I would always just be like to all the kids who are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna join the choir or whatever and like learn how to sing. I'd be like, you're a fucking loser. But now I'm like, I wish I had, just because.
Yeah, look at me, fucking inability to sing, or fucking when I'm out on a night out, I'm looking like a dickhead because I don't know how to fucking dance.
You can't sing.
Yeah, you're a waste of space.
Isn't it? You just look like a mug.
Do you guys ever get people that were like kind of, oh, parkour's gay, or it's really gay, you're really gay for doing that, and then like a few years later when you're pretty sick at it, you can backflip whenever and shit like that, and like the stuff that they like, muggles really fucking enjoy.
Yeah.
They're like, well, yeah, it's pretty cool actually. They like double back.
There was a lot of that at my school. fully just like me and Dennis used to Marcus used to be really good friends with a kid called Dennis at my school, and we were like in the same class as well, and we do parkour, and everyone just be like, you guys are fucking lame, and then like as soon as we could like both do like a flip of any kind, everyone's like, oh my god, that's so cool, and we're just like, fuck off.
Yeah,
I think
man.
The Office has a lot to answer for, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Oh, The Office, yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, that's true. But at the same
Same-
time, it gave them that buzzword, didn't it? When they recognise, and The Office was good as well. Like they said, this is what parkour is, and this is what parkour isn't, and that really got people's attention because it's a good joke, right? It's a contrast, it's incongruity there, and people just latched onto that buzzword of parkour, and now it helps them identify, you know, with the sport, even if that level is like a meme or whatever. And it's a meme that's been around for time as well. Like memes usually die out over the course of like a few months. I'll still see like memes on Reddit where it's people like, I do this and then I do this parkour. I'm like, what? How is that still alive, bro? How is that still a thing?
People still say it to you on the street and shit. They're
Yeah,
like, oh,
man.
It's like, how is this still a thing?
A US sitcom, bro. Like one episode of a US sitcom.
Not even the
Nuts.
best version of that sitcom. The English version is way better.
Point of contention there, man. I
That's
like
right,
the
not
US
bad.
Office.
I've watched all of both, and they're both good, but I prefer the English one as an opinion.
The English one was groundbreaking, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There's
But
nothing
it-
like it.
Dry English humour, so
Yeah. You've got to know.
It's like Peep Show. If you're American, you probably don't really get Peep Show.
Yeah, I didn't get Peep Show for a long time. I just didn't think it was funny for so long because I didn't really give it a solid chance. I watched a random episode when it was on TV. Same with Friends as well. Like I watched a bit of an episode and I was like, this isn't even funny. Like this doesn't make sense. But then I like watched it from the beginning at uni because I was fucking doing nothing at uni.
Yeah.
watching Peep Show and eating pasta. That's all I did.
That is most people's uni experience.
Yeah, man.
Like,
Cheap food and
I
your
definitely
girlfriend's
remember
Netflix
doing that
account.
at uni. Marcus, what did you do at uni? I bet you watched Peep Show and ate pasta.
Yeah, I watched In-Betweeners and ate pasta with butter.
Oh, nice.
Pasta
So
with
good.
butter is a thing at uni as well. The first time I came across it, and I was like, "What are you doing? This is nuts!" And they're like, "Nah, it's a meal, bro." That's not a fucking meal, man. Doesn't count.
There's
I
literally
used to-
nothing in it, is it? It's just carbs.
No.
I used to just make tuna pasta.
Tuna pasta bangs.
Yeah, tuna pasta is nice and good for you, and not too expensive.
Oven pizza was always my go-to.
Yeah.
They were
Oven
always
pizza-
on offer in the massive Tesco. They were like £2 for the like Pizza Express ones that are normally £6. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
yes, please. I'd eat like 2 of them a week.
Yeah, Pizza Express is good.
Plays
Banging.
into that degenerate lifestyle really rather well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What, £2 pizza?
Artisanal fucking oven-made pizzas. It does say on my Instagram bio, I'm a connoisseur of artisanal loaves of bread.
Oh yeah, not pizza. Though.
Yeah.
See, I'm a
wow.
connoisseur of artisanal pizza, working at Pizza Express.
Oi, oi.
Yeah, mate.
Give us a rundown of your favourite loaves, Charlie. What are you rating?
Sourdough is the 10 out of 10. The sourdough bloomer. Nice chunky loaf. Yeah. I don't actually know anything about bread. That's
What are you saying?
a short-lived joke, isn't it?
Have you ever had malt loaf bread?
Yeah, I have. Bangs.
Marcus
So
rates
good.
it hard because it's cheap, and he just you get like it's so like filling.
Yeah.
I hate it.
What? Why?
It's just not like it's just too filling for a fact. I don't like
It's
because I eat
dense.
like one bit. I'm like, oh, I don't want this anymore.
Yeah,
And then it's also very like what's the word? It's got a very particular taste to it. You know what I mean? Like
And there's the same taste all the way through as well.
yeah.
So I can
never
understand
mind.
why someone wouldn't want to eat a whole loaf of it.
Yeah, I could. I think like I buy it when we're abroad because it is cheap and it's easy to eat. But like
Yeah.
I
And it's
definitely
mad energy.
I don't buy it. Like I'd never like just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy some malt loaf. and
Yeah,
get some
nah.
with me.
I made that mistake at uni when I had the choice of not having to buy malt loaf because I was still in like parkour travel mode where I was buying vegan and shit because I usually travel with like Tom or I was traveling with Tim or whatever and like a bunch of vegans and I just buy what they bought, which was usually like bagels and like peanut butter and stuff. And I just it was okay for a week. I had good energy, but then like actually living off of it for like a month, my brain was like foggy. I was lacking so many nutrients. I called my mum. I was like, I'm like in such a state. She's like, how's your diet? And I was like, I don't know. I'm sort of just eating bagels and peanut butter and malt loaf. And she was like, you fucking idiot.
You definitely should not eat copious amounts of peanut butter. It's not that good for you.
No, it's not good for you at all. It's really good for energy for training, but like
Yeah,
all
but
I
it's
knew
full of
about
fat
nutrition
as
was
well.
sport nutrition for like this fucking weird sport that no one does. So
I've
bit
had
of a
to
weird
really
one.
thin out on my peanut butter consumption over lockdown. Normally I eat a fucking good amount of it, but because I'm doing significantly less, I've had to be like, right, I'm putting a fucking X on the peanut butter because there's no way I'm burning that shit off.
No way.
Yeah.
Even if you go out training every day, like I think training on your own, I burn out so much quicker than if I were to train with other people.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
there's no
100%.
like,
There's
if
no
I'm
break.
ever if I ever stop for too long, the session might just end. I might just go, I can't be bothered anymore.
I
So I've
fully
got
had
to
it the
keep
other day.
trying. I've
I
got
was
to
like,
keep trying the same thing.
I had like I ticked off like a challenge, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna move on to this next one, and I'm like prepping it, and I'm like, oh, I might have a break to have some water and just like just sort myself out, and I just sat there, and then I just didn't get back up. I was just like, oh, I guess I'll just go home now, because I just got too done. I was just too tired
That
from
was the
just
same
sitting.
thing with this old dude. I was like, well, I was doing this one challenge. It was like a shimmy into a windowsill, and then like I like pulled myself round to an arm jump and then climb up. And then I stopped to have some water, and I like leant against my bike, and I just thought about like how unpleasant being confronted, with all my stuff as well. I had like a camera, I had my bike. I couldn't run. I wasn't gonna fight him. I was like, that was really unpleasant, man. Like I really don't want to. I don't want to be here right now. I just went home. Like I had nowhere to vent it. I didn't have anyone I was training with to talk to about it. So as soon as I
Yeah,
stopped training and I like reflected on it, and I was like, I'm not really having fun anymore. Like just sort of like
yeah, put like a downer.
put a down on it. I just went home. I was like, I tricked them. I trained in my back garden once I was home. I guess I'd processed it by then.
Yeah.
In
Weird.
Fair play.
It's very different when you're on your own.
Say again.
So it's very different when you're on your own, like especially in terms of like I feel like when you're training on your own, you need to be aware of your own ability more, because if you bail and fuck yourself up, no one else is there and you get hurt. And then
Yeah.
also, if someone like approaches you when you're on your own, it looks more sketchy, which is the weird thing. Like especially like if you're doing roof stuff, it just looks fucking like sketchy as fuck. If you're on your own on a roof, like
Yeah.
and then B, if it gets like confrontational that way, someone threatens you, it's like you don't have your mates to sort of like be like, oh yeah, it's gonna be fine. We'll all sort of just like do whatever.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if we need to, we can like disarm the situation as a group. It's like, oh, if this guy attacks me, I have to defend myself on my own, and it's just not like it's
Yeah.
not fun.
Especially if it's a group of people as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of crackheads in Exeter, and like you've got to be aware that if you're training around them and you've got a bike and you've got a bag full of stuff and you're over there, if one of them confronts you and you're dealing with them, someone else could just grab your shit and take it. So you've got to be thinking, all right, where do I put my stuff where I'm going to be waiting and prepping, and then I can do the move and I can leave stuff safely. And I went to a spot one time and I heard a group approaching. They were clearly crackheads because they all sound like Devonshire. Really, don't know where they get the accent from. They're like sort of rowdy, and I was like, okay, like there's a group of crackheads coming, and I was like looking at my stuff, and I was like, it's just not worth it, because if I'm one guy on my own, I clearly stand out if I'm like fucking jumping on walls and stuff. It
Yeah.
only takes one of them to confront me to try and back down and not fucking fight them, and then the other one to just pick up my bag and just be like, cool.
Yeah.
And then they've got my bag, and I've got to fight a group of 4 like dudes. I'm like, well, it's not going to happen. So I just put my bag on and just went to a different spot to avoid confrontation. Like training alone is so much harder.
Mm.
It is, and now it's been thrust upon us all.
Yeah, man, it's not fun. It's not fun. I don't get the same gratification out of training alone. There's still the gratification of like landing a jump well and sticking a jump and like the feeling you get from doing it. But training with someone is always going to be more fun.
Yeah, I personally get like a lot of gratification from training my own, but like I also tend to treat it differently. Like I don't do the stuff I normally do if I'm on my own. When I'm on my own, I do stuff that I feel like I'm worse at. So then I practice that a load more, and then when I get it, it feels more achieved because I feel like I've learned something new as opposed to like just doing the same old shit but on my own.
Yeah.
Whereas like when you're with other people, you get the sweet time of doing challenges with them. It's always sick.
Yeah, that's always more fun. I feel like I make more progress with other people as well.
I feel like I definitely make more progress. Like I don't feel like I should, but I feel more confident with other people, and I also like I just feel like because the vibe's always higher, you're always gonna like feel better, and it's always gonna be nicer to do stuff, I guess.
Definitely.
You get inspired by people you train with, and you bounce ideas off each other, and you get time to rest between doing things. It's definitely a much more enjoyable experience. I think going forward from after this lockdown, I think I will train on my own, sort of systematically and like tactically in a way, because there are benefits which before this I understood but didn't like know. And I think going forward, I do miss training with people, obviously more than anything. But training on my own has reassured me that my love for the sport isn't just dependent on other people. It's not just dependent on the vibes. I do love it for what it is, which is great and quite reassuring. But the combination of the two, I think, is going to be nice. And this actually lockdown will, I think, be beneficial for me as an athlete quite a lot, actually.
Exciting.
I just missed the boys.
Hopefully that's the same for a lot of athletes.
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah, I think I was saying to Mark, I was saying to someone at the beginning of lockdown, I said that this is going to be a crucial like telltale sign of like for a lot of people, even big and not big athletes, like people who just, because the key thing you'll notice here is that the people who stop doing anything are the people who probably don't like they're going to realize that they don't care as much about, or like they don't enjoy it as much as they thought they did.
Yeah.
And so once you hit that realization, you'll then be like, oh well, why am I doing it? And then people start to think about whether they want to continue doing parkour anymore. Whereas like you get those people who are taking the time out to go and do stuff, like even if it's just like tricking in your garden, like you're taking the time out of your day to go do something on your own and you enjoy it. And so like you're going to keep pursuing that, and it's going to be boosted even more when you can do it with other people, because that's always going to boost your confidence and like your mental outlook on how things are, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've particularly always trained on my own, so I've always just like, I don't know. I've always feel like I've appreciated it for what it is on its own, even without other people. But
the only thing
that's just because I'm addicted.
I would hate for anyone to feel like because they feel that way, there isn't a place in the community for them. And please don't feel like I'm suggesting that's what you're saying, but I would hate for this situation to be the reason for people to stop training because they feel that way. I think there is always a place for people who just train when they want to, and people who just come out with their mates, and if that's it, that's it. Like,
that's me. That's me. That's all I do.
I'm not saying that like if you're not training on your own, you shouldn't be training, or like you're not doing it for the right reasons. What I mean is that I think people will reflect on it and then they'll make the decision as to whether they think they're doing it for the right reasons. And I actually rate the people who only train when they want to more than people who force themselves to go out and train. For example, James only trains when he fucking wants to. He hasn't been out training once because he doesn't want to, which is totally fine. And it just means that he's fucking happy whenever he's training. Like whenever he trains, he only has a good time because that's what he wants to be doing in that moment, which is sick. Whereas sometimes I don't have a good time because I'm not as motivated as I wanted to be on that day.
Yeah. Or is energetic. It can be so many different factors that affect it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the point is to enjoy the sport. If you're not enjoying it, like, what are you doing? There is no point in being here. You're not getting paid. You should be doing it for the sake of the sport. Like the sport should be its own reason to go and do it. Like you should just be motivated. I think if training it makes you happy, go and do that. If you know you need to be in the right mood to go and train, wait till you're in the right mood. It doesn't matter. No one's going to judge you either way. No. You're not less valuable to the community either way.
You're probably more valuable to the community if you only go out and train when you're having a good time and like when you feel properly motivated.
Well, we need people to enjoy and consume the sport, don't we? Not everyone can be gassed and training every day and fucking sick of the sport all the time. Because then you know, everyone will just be selling each other's t-shirts, wouldn't they? Buy my brand.
buy my brand, Tommy Jeans.
Yeah, I wish, bro. Fucking hell. Do you guys have any questions? Anything you want to ask?
No, I don't like these.
Okay, yeah, this has been a chore, to be honest.
Oh shit. That's what everyone says every single time as well. God.
It's because you tell them you don't like them.
Yeah, but it's only a joke. You know I love you, Charlie.
I love you too, bro.
I wouldn't stay up messaging you till like 2 a.m. while watching The Hobbit if
this is true. Have you guys spoken about that idea, by the way?
Yeah, we had a little chat and we're gassing. Yeah.
I'm glad.
The
Whoa, that is energy.
Carry on, bro. Yeah. We're definitely on that. I was so excited that night, and I was watching The Hobbit, so I was just getting gassed up. I was like, "Oh, here we go."
Oh, sick. Yeah, if there's anyone to have that idea, it's got to be you guys. You guys have got to take it and run with it, and you know, UK culture is the perfect place for it as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think like especially with, I don't know if we should delve too deep into this on the podcast, but Jamie can edit it out, so it's fine. But I think especially with like people like Joe Scandrett who like just embody just like raw culture and shit like that. It's just like
the one of the greatest guys in the sport right now. Beast Coast with Dom and Joe and Arthur as well. Just the sickest time. Like, it was amazing. Like those opportunities and stuff, and being with those kind of guys. Not to say that like I didn't enjoy the people on Storm and stuff. I've still got a really good relationship with Joe. I've got a really good relationship with Phil. It's just you're not everyone's mate, are you? And you don't always want to train with everyone all the time. There are certain people that embody your values a little bit better, and you embody theirs and stuff. Where you know it just changes. It's different for different people, and I think but Joe Scandrett is just the embodiment of like doing it for the fucking passion and being really, really good and creative and like just a nice guy as well. Really funny, good to be around.
Yeah,
love him.
And Stora as well are another good example of people who have a really big following and not only deserve it, but I think continue to represent the sport really well. Like coming from, I mean, I think all of us, I would say we are within this sort of core group of practitioners from, we're within the sport, and I'm glad that they are the ones that are representing it to people outside of that sort of core group. I'm glad it's those faces that are being seen, and
definitely.
Not this ugly mug. Yeah, I think going back to what you're saying about it, just enjoying like training with who you're with, I think the interesting thing of obviously joining it, like, so when you join Storm, you essentially join an external team that maybe you hadn't spent a load of time with. And so you're then having to sort of build those relationships up while maintaining looking like a good relationship on camera, I guess. Whereas Dylan Knight is the younger brother of one of Finn's best mates, and we've been bullying Dylan for years. So the relationship was there before it ever like grew into a team thing, I guess. And like especially with Marcus as well. I've known Marcus for fucking a long old time, and we just have good times and train, and then it eventually grew into the business. Yeah,
that's what it's about, man. But like, not even that. Like, I knew Ed and Tim for ages. I knew Ed and Tim for ages before that. But their goals were just different to mine. You know, they're very, like, very sport oriented. Very like they want to achieve these certain things. I think Ed more than Tim for sure. But I don't really know these guys anymore, man. Like, I never hit them up. I never message them or hang out with them or anything. I don't really train with them. Don't really enjoy training with them anymore because they're so focused on getting all the challenges all the time, which is a really good physical feat, but it's not how I enjoy the sport, so I don't really do it with them. But the people that I do resonate with, like Joe and like Phil, still talk to and still like, you don't have to be friends with everyone all the time. But that's also not to say that Tim and Ed are not cool guys, really cool guys, some of the coolest, I've had the pleasure of training with in the sport and stuff. Like they're sound guys.
Yeah, I do love spending time with Tim and Ed. It's a cool. I like it. I don't know. I feel like I resonate with training with Ed a lot, but I can understand why like people do. Like he is literally just like go 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 go. Oh, we're going to do
He's
this
like a
challenge.
parkour machine. He's like a parkour robot.
Which I kind of like resonate with. I kind of like enjoy that sort of stuff, but I also enjoy the other side of like just doing something when I want to do it, and like
Yeah.
so I can understand when like I guess like both sides of the coin of that sort of aspect. I guess if that makes sense. We're going to do the end question because we always do underrated. Well, we used to always do underrated stuff. Last week we did. I'm going to give you a little for those who listened to last week. You'll know what it was. We did our top favorite cereals. So if you watched last week's one, everyone will know what everyone in Fifth Unit's favorite cereal is. Marcus is boring, so don't bother listening to him. Mine's the best. Everyone else's were okay. But this week we're going to do underrated item of parkour clothing. So a specific one from any drop by any brand, but just that one that you think maybe went a bit under the radar and no one really noticed and didn't think was as cool as the rest, even though it's fucking sick. I'm going to go with Marcus first, and then we'll do Charlie and then me.
All right, cool. Yeah, mine's I don't know if it I don't know how well it fits the underrated brief, because to me it is partially, but it suffers in other ways. So it's the Run London top. You know, they released the black top with a big fat Run London top.
Yeah.
In the middle of it. And I don't think it's necessarily underrated, because I think everyone thinks it's sick. But it did kind of slip under the radar in the sense that no one really has it. You don't see it very often.
I might have it.
Really, yeah. And that actually, I messaged Alfie. Hang on.
Oh wait, I've got a motor sample.
Oh, D. That's fucking sick. So I asked Alfie about it, and I'll play the clip. Chris, if you can't hear it, just tell me, and I'll just stop playing it. I'll try and sum it up. Here's what Alfie said.
Yeah, I fucking hear you, man. Yeah, it was a weird one, to be fair. Like, I'm pretty sure we had a limited amount made when Giles first initially made them after the Run London resurgence thing or whatever. And then, yeah, like, I think Barry made another batch with slightly bigger logos on a second batch of t-shirts, but they got given out to Run London members and exclusive friends of Run London, like just people that we've known for years and shit. I think, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think the t-shirts were also available to be bought by anyone that was taking Run London classes at the time. I'm not 100%.
So yeah, that's basically it. I'm assuming you heard that, but he basically saying that they did a first batch with Giles, and after that Barry did another sort of run of them, but they were only available for the athletes themselves and people classes. So that's why you don't really see them. But that t-shirt is so sick.
I rate the second batch one, because the second batch one isn't just
black and white, right?
It's black and white, yeah. It's the one that you'll probably see Travis wearing all the time. And I remember talking to Barry, and I asked him how I could get one. He was like, "Oh, when we make another batch, I'll hit you up." And I was like, "Sick." So at some point, hopefully they'll be doing more, and we'll get another one, get some of those going. But yeah, that's actually a fucking sick choice. I rate that one so much. Charlie, what's your insights on underrated item of clothing?
I've got two technically. One is parkour that is streetwear that I wear like daily, and then there's one, not daily, I wash it obviously. And then there's one that is like has like revolutionized my training, definitely. The streetwear one is this Motus tee.
Oh yeah.
It's just a plain black Motus tee, but like the amount of compliments I've gotten off of it, just wearing it about nights out or at uni or whatever, someone will go, "Oh, that's a nice t-shirt." I'm like, sick. And I was like, yeah, no, it is really nice. It's never like, I've trained in it, I've gone on nights out in it, I've worn it to uni and stuff. Like, it's really well made and it's just sick. And there's so many black t-shirts like in the parkour community, right? Like there's bare, like everyone makes their black logo t-shirt thing. Yeah. I got bare Storm ones, they all shrank immediately. I was like, that's fucking dead. this Motus one I've worn for years, and it's like just consistently been wicked and like a staple of like stuff that I've worn. And then the other one is the Farangs, the Farang shoes. I've been wearing them for like a year now. Easily the best shoes I've ever worn for parkour, hands down. Like I can trick in them. Like they're that light and they're that flexible and durable that I can like have a full tricking session with shoes on, which I just cannot do in any other shoe. And it's like the softness of the sole and the thickness of the sole is perfect for your like touch on rails. It's also perfect for like your touch on the ground. Like it's got like a really good, I don't know, it's just the best shoe I've ever worn, hands down. And I don't see them enough. I still see people like, to be fair, they're not the cheapest.
Yeah,
so people are going for cheaper alternatives.
They're very expensive, so I was like, actually can't afford that.
Yeah. But they flew under the radar in that sense. They were the first parkour shoe that's been specifically designed for parkour and seems to like actually work and like really help me, you know, diversify my training, because I can do all the parkour stuff I want to do in them, and it's still comfortable to put some tricks at the end of a line as well.
That's sick. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I really like the Farang shoe. That actually reminds me of a second one. I'll have two now because of that as well.
What's yours?
My first one is the Street Media Docker. I think it's the Crown Docker beanie. I don't have it, but it's fucking sick. And I like it's so, you know, when they released that bum bag that had the Velcro on it, it's the one that came out with that, and it has like a crown, it's a beanie with a like Velcro attachment where you can put like the stickers on, and it has Street Media written across it with like a classic like English like royal crown on the back, and it's fucking sick. And you can take that off and then also put the other Street Media Velcro on, and it's just like, I just thought like, why is no one wearing that? It's like two beanies in one, and it's just like sick. Like the whole concept is so cool to me. So I don't know. I definitely want to cop that as soon as I can, but I've got
Street Media smash it. They do such a good job.
They do, and they're incredibly creative. I bought the tea towel the other day.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Here she is.
Yo, that's sick.
Beautiful.
That's so cool.
Perfect for wiping down spots or the idle sweat on my forehead in this mad weather. So the other one that you reminded me of is what's it called? It's just like, do you remember Farang did like a box logo tee, and it's like that acid wash black, and it's just like a clear, I don't remember what it's called, but it's
I think I might have it as well, actually.
Give it a look. He's just got everything, this boy. Yeah, that one. Yeah, it's just so sick.
I get given a lot of clothes.
It's so simple, but it's
actually
like
Dom's one.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's sick.
Such a good t-shirt.
Yeah, I feel like it was such a simple idea, but they've like executed it to the point where you can't fault it. If that makes, like, design wise, I don't know about like.
Oh no, it's a fucking really good t-shirt. It was Dom's t-shirt that he wore for the entire Beast Coast event, and then gave to me and was like, "Oh, I was like, I really like that t-shirt," and he was like, "There you go, have it. Like you can take it. I've got a few more anyway." And was like, "Yeah, just wrap it and wear it." But it's actually too nice to wear training. Like it's kind of like the Motus one now. Like I rate the Motus one so much that I don't want to do like 360 dives and stuff in it, because I put a hole in it, then it's written off. It's the same with that one. Like I really like it, so I wear it like with like jeans or cords or something.
Yeah, cool. That's sick. I already wear cords. Big up cords. Cords are sick.
Big up cords.
Big up the
How
cords.
crazy, Charlie, that an item of clothing has had a positive impact on your training. That's insane.
Yeah, the shoes.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Clothing can do that.
Yeah, big time. Because I came from training in the gym, right? All my flips came from training in a gym, and then I take them outside. And if my shoe's too heavy, or it's too like thick or padded or whatever, it makes that it makes it so much more different. So much more different, more difficult as well. Whereas like if I've got one that fits my foot perfectly and still functions as a shoe, it's like blending both worlds of all the stuff that I've trained like outside and the stuff I've trained inside. It just brings it all together.
Yeah.
You've just fucking given Farang the best like shoe review.
Yeah.
Big up
Farang. Big up
not
Farang.
getting purchases, because I bet all the people that watch this are about as poor as we are. But
Definitely, bro. Luckily, I ain't got any money, bro.
But big up Farang.
Big up you guys as well. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. I was just about to say thanks for being a total legend and agreeing to be on a weird video call
Mate,
when
it's
we were
cool.
stuck inside.
It's all right.
It's been super fun. I hope you've enjoyed it.
I have indeed. It's been good to catch up with you guys as well. Poke your brains.
Yeah, for sure.
And also, I think you're quite a rare and a valuable sort of voice in the community.
Oh,
because you're like, I'm not like.
Because I love you, Charlie.
No, carry on. No, I insist. No, keep going.
But you're honest and you're open about like your experiences in the sort of parkour world, but then also, as just demonstrated by this, it's like proof in the pudding. You're eloquent and you represent your ideas really well, and it's a good thing.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.